Well, hello everybody and welcome to the Free Thought Society's June meetup meeting. My name is Michael Stephen Martin and it's my pleasure to be the Zoom coordinator and for the Free Thought Society and your co-host for today's event. I'm sorry again about the music snafu we had a few minutes ago. We were trying to play some music for you, but we're going to get to the event. We want to stay on track with our timing and get started, so I'm officially starting the session now by spotlighting my co-host and the president of the Free Thought Society, Margaret Downey.
Hi, and thank you, Michael. Welcome everyone to the Free Thought Society's June 13th Zoom meeting. The Free Thought Society serves as a local forum in which freethinkers can meet virtually now. We can socialize virtually and exchange ideas virtually. As freethinkers, our minds are not restrained by superstitions or prescribed dogmas that tell us what we can and cannot think and believe. Now, while some today would suppress independent thought, freethinkers know that the unrestricted exchange of ideas have been the primary forces of progress in all civilizations. We have looked at the many theological systems that have been constructed since the beginning of time, and we have found them lacking. We view many religions based upon a belief in a deity as an attempt to offer absolute certainty and security where there is none. And we want to move beyond that. We have freed our minds of ancient mythologies. As freethinkers, we want to better ourselves and our community through the unrestrained application of reason and human endeavor to address the local and global problems that confront us. We advocate complete separation of religion and government, and we are concerned about those who would destroy the Jeffersonian wall of separation completely and forever. The Free Thought Society is a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and this is why we hope you will be moved to make a donation today. A donation link will appear in the chat section a few times during this session, but if you miss the link, it's very simple. It's ftsociety.org/donate. Now I'm honored to introduce today's speakers, Bailey Harris and Elle Harris.
Hello, how's everyone?
Bailey Harris was only 8 years old when she started to write her first book, My Name Is Stardust. At age 12, she completed her third book, Stardust Explores Earth's Wonders. Bailey comes up with the ideas, and her father, Doug, helps her simplify and organize it. They've also garnered the help of a group of scientists and astronomers to fact check. Now, when Bailey was in kindergarten, her teacher reported to her parents that she was the only child in class who went right to the nonfiction section when they visited the library. In 2017 and 2018, Bailey has exhibited her books at the BookCon and BookExpo in New York City. And while signing her first book, she would ask readers which planet was their favorite. And that question brought about a lot of excitement and energy. So Bailey decided to write her second book, Stardust Explores the Solar System. Bailey hopes the books will inspire a love for science among young readers and adults alike. The success of the 3 books has enabled Bailey and her dad to help spread their passion for science to families all around the world. And I've had the pleasure of hosting Bailey as a speaker at DragonCon last year. She was also a speaker at the Center for Inquiry's Las Vegas conference that took place in October of 2019. At that conference, Bailey and her family participated in the 1950s costume contest as members of Reason University. Bailey and her sister Elle were the cheerleaders for us. And I'm so pleased to also introduce Elle, who will talk to us after Bailey. Elle also attended DragonCon last year to support her sister and to enjoy the event with her family. The family participated in the DragonCon parade dressed as all the characters in the Scooby-Doo gang. A 9-year-old Elle Harris is the author of the book, Wonderful Earth. No, yeah, you did have that book. I just don't have it in my library. I've got to get it. And that was published in 2019. And then she has an upcoming book, Elle the Humanist. Elle the Humanist is a warm introduction to humanism and ethics through the eyes of a 9-year-old. The foreword was written by Daniel Dennett. Elle loves sharing her passion for life with others through her books. And now, Bailey and Elle will share their stories with you from this very special Zoom in June.
Yes. Wait. Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much to Free Thought Society and Margaret for inviting us to spend time with you. I'm so excited to share my story. And this is the first time that me and my sister have given talks together. So I'm really excited about that. I hope that this helps you understand how important science and free thought can be to children in our world. I'm going to start off by telling you a little bit about my family. Okay. This is my family. I have 2 older brothers and a younger sister. I've always loved soccer ever since I was a little girl. This is me playing soccer today. I play with a club team, Impact United. My family loves science, so I grew up watching educational shows like Bill Nye the Science Guy, and at bedtime my parents would read us educational books like Magic of Reality. I grew up in a secular family, so this is a screenshot of a presentation that my parents used to teach us the 7 humanist virtues when I was 6 years old. My parents taught us the platinum rule. My sister will talk to you about this rule that is featured in her book. This is me on my first day of kindergarten. I was a little strange. And I'm not just talking about those clothes. My teacher told my parents that I was the only one in the class that would go to the nonfiction section when we had library time. When I was little, I used to lay out on the trampoline with my family, and we would talk about the stars and constellations in life. My dad and I actually once fell asleep on the trampoline watching the stars one time. This was very special to me, and I learned to love learning about the universe. I could feel that I was part of something that was larger than myself. I grew up in Utah. Utah is known actually for quite a few things. We have amazing national parks. The Osmonds come from Utah. We have a ginormous copper mine that took down a beautiful mountain. This is a picture from NASA. We have the Salt Flats. We hosted the 2002 Winter Olympics a few years before I was born. We also have Sundance Film Festival every year. Am I forgetting anything, guys? Like, I don't know. Yes, Utah is the worldwide headquarters for the Mormon Church. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as they like to be called now. This is where my story begins. This is me on my first day of 3rd grade. As you can tell, I was very excited. What I didn't know was that the kids behind me were all scheming of how to turn me into a good little Mormon. And it looks like they were staring at my dress because I was showing my shoulders. Heathen child. One thing that started happening this year is that my classmates wanted me to read a book that was very special to them. The Book of Mormon. Yes, everyone wanted me to read the Book of Mormon. They told me that this would make me happy. But then these same kids started asking me if I believed in Jesus. I told them I didn't believe in Jesus. They thought I was totally crazy. After this, a girl in my class started following me around at recess and lunch, always wanted me to talk about religion. One time, I told her that I didn't believe in Jesus. She told me that I wouldn't be able to go to the pretty princess in the sky. She told me that I was going to go to a place called hell. This girl continued following me around and telling me that I was going to hell. I ran away and hid from her. The next day, she said the same thing, and I ran away again. She told the yard duty, and I was refusing to play with her and hurting her feelings. Yard duty took me to the assistant principal. The assistant principal told me that I couldn't refuse to play with someone like that. I told her that the girl wouldn't stop talking about religion and telling me I was going to be sent to hell. The assistant principal told me I was being the bully because I wasn't playing with this girl. She kept me in at recess and made me read anti-bullying books for weeks. My mom came in and saw me crying at lunch one day and asked my teacher why I wasn't out playing with the other kids. The teacher told my mom that I couldn't go out with the other children because I was being a bully by refusing to play with this girl. My mom went in and talked to the assistant principal. The assistant principal told my mom, "What do you expect? You moved here from California to Utah." This year ended up very hard for me. The innocent, excited little girl that I was in this picture had some dark times later this year. I don't tell you this because I want you to feel sorry for me. I tell you this because it will help you understand why I wrote my book. And now on to the happy part of the story. My family loves science, and we watch Cosmos together every Sunday night. In one episode, Neil deGrasse Tyson said, "The planets, the stars, the galaxies, we ourselves, and all our life, the same star stuff." This was amazing to me. I cannot believe that our bodies are made of stardust. I wanted all the kids to know about this. So I ran upstairs to the computer and started typing a book. This is the actual document from that day. My original title was The Book of Truth. So I ran upstairs. So I know that the Book of Mormon was special to my friends at school, so I made a title very similar to their book title. This is a picture of me when I was 8 years old, showing how I wanted the pages in my book to look. I was so excited to share this with the world. This is what the book ended up looking like. I'll be doing a full book reading on this book a little later. This is an image. I started off by talking about how life appeared on Earth millions of years ago by single-celled organisms. This is an image of Black Rock Beach in Hawaii with the Milky Way in the sky. This is my favorite place on Earth. We talk about how there are hundreds of billions of galaxies with hundreds of billions of stars in each galaxy. We also talk about evolution and how it connects us to everything on Earth. Our book was published, and I was able to go to BookCon and BookExpo in New York for its release. I was able to speak with so many children, and I learned that children love space, so we decided to make a book about the solar system. This is a page from my research. I tried to find the coolest things about each planet in this book. This is one of my book. This is called Stars Explores the Solar System. I will read you a few of my favorite pages from this book. Our galaxy is called the Milky Way. It formed around 13 billion years ago, not long after the Big Bang. Our galaxy is called a barreled spiral. Because of its spiraled arms, our solar system is located on one of these arms, called the Orion Arm. Earth is the perfect distance from the sun to support life. It's not too hot and it's not too cold, just like the porridge in the story of Goldilocks and Three Bears. It is very fun to think that out in the billions of our solar systems, in our universe, there could be millions of other planets spinning around stars with conditions that could support life, like we have on Earth. Earth is made out of stardust. Uranus is the coldest planet in the solar system. It has a core of ice and rocks surrounded by thick, beautiful blue clouds. One of my favorite things about Uranus is that the only planet in our solar system that spins on its side. Most astronomers think that this is because when planets were forming, another large ball of stardust crashed into Uranus and knocked it over. Uranus is made of stardust. Neptune is the outermost planet in our solar system. It is almost 3 billion miles away from the sun. It takes so long for Neptune to go around the sun that a Neptunian year lasts 165 Earth years. Because of this, of how far Neptune is from Earth, it is a mystery what is in the core, what the core is made of. There is a lot of guesses about what it is full of. I like to think that it's full of pink cotton candy-filled diamonds. People believe a lot of weird things when the real answers aren't known yet. So I could be able to have some fun too, right? Neptune is made of stardust. This is my third book, which was released last year. It's called Stardust Explores Earth's Wonders. This book is about geology and evolution. Ever since our first book, parents have been asking us to write about evolution. This is the first page of the book. Stardust's skeptical little brother Vincent asks her a lot of questions in this book. I read you this page. Stardust, where did plants and animals come from? Was it magic? No, Vincent, it wasn't magic, but the process is even more special than magic. We talk about geology. Also, in this book, we talk about the history of Earth and Pangea. I will read you two of my favorite pages in this book. Stardust have another animals evolved like that. Yes, there are thousands of fun examples of this. Here's my favorite example. A group of brown bears migrated north to the Antarctic around 500,000 years ago. A small mutation created white fur in one of the bears, and the bears then had babies with the white fur. The bears with the white fur were able to blend in with the snow and the ice and were able to sneak up on other animals. They were hunters, so they had more food to eat. Because of this, they lived longer and had more babies. The descendants of those white bears are what we call polar bears today. Stardust, how many different kinds of animals are there? Today we have more than 1 million different species of animals on Earth. All of them, including us, come from ancestors that have lived on Earth in the past. Often one animal evolves over time with different animals. The mysids were a good example of this. Mysids were a group of ancient carnivores that evolved into many modern animals, including lions, foxes, dogs, bears, and raccoons. The animals are our cousins. They evolved into different animals because of many tiny changes that happened over 30 million years while they were living in different places on Earth. These changes helped them live longer and have more babies. I'm so grateful to have my 3 Stardust books to help my passion for science with the world. Right now, I'm working on releasing a game based on many of the characters in my last book called Go Extinct. Stardust Catches the Carnivores. This is the new version of one of my family's favorite games, Go Extinct. The game designer is an evolutionary biologist named Elle, and she helped us write the last book, Stardust Explores Earth's Wonders. Once we finished the book, we decided to work together and create a new version of their game. In this game, players work to complete sets of clades, and it is played in similar manner to Go Fish, but instead of collecting groups of numbers, you collect actual clades of animals. The game is designed to teach the fundamentals of evolutionary biology in a simple way. As many of you know, it is a horrible way to teach as many of you know, this is a horrible way to teach evolution. We have to work hard to help children and adults understand that evolution is not in a ladder like it is in this image. You can see that Darwin laid out this tree, and many scientists teach that evolution is more like a tree or a bush. This game works to teach the important principles. As Bertha and Richard Dawkins Foundation Ties Group said, it is so important that our students see the relatedness of living things like branches of a tree. This game helps them visualize philologics in a fun way. This game is on a Kickstarter right now, and if we raise money, in the next 2 weeks, the game will launch in September. I can't wait for our families to be able to play it, and we are working really hard to raise enough money. I wanted to conclude by talking a little bit about my atheism and my passionate for 3 things: science education, equality, and atheism. The first one for me, naturally, is science education. Why is science education so important? No matter what they like to say, this is happening to our Earth slowly but surely, and humans are causing it. And you can believe that this is, how can you still believe that this is a thing? Charles Darwin said, freedom of thought is best promoted by the gradual illumination of men's minds, which follows from the advance of science. I do a lot of things to fight for science education. I was on a PBS special. I do book readings in school classrooms. I do book readings at my favorite places like Black Rock Beach. I do radio interviews and talk about science education. I do podcast interviews. And I do science experiments on TV. Another thing is that I'm an activist for equality. Here's a picture of that we did at the Ark Encounter. We're taking back the rainbow. LGBTQ rights are very important to me. Happy Pride Month, by the way. I have an uncle and 2 cousins who are openly gay. Suicide is a leading cause of death for people my age in Utah, and oppressions of gay youth is contributing heavy to this. This is my cousin Tate. Tate is gay and one of the nicest people you will ever meet. He was at a gas station last year, and 2 people came up to him and called him gay and threw a hot chocolate at him. When I fight for equality, I mean I fight for Tate. This is me with my former mayor, who is openly gay, female mayor in Utah. I'm a huge fan of U.S. women's national team. They sold out every game at the last World Cup. The soccer players make less than half of what the U.S. men's soccer players make. Megan Rapinoe said, it's time for action on equal pay for women soccer players. Here's a post that I did in the past week to show my support for the Black community right now. I'm so happy to stand with Black Lives Matter. The third topic that I fight for is atheism. Why? Because religion is still fighting hard against both of these, and we stand up against this. What is this about? Like, what is this image about? Pandering the base? I don't get him. The Ark Encounter is a perfect example of why to fight for atheism. I did a video with Secular Student Alliance on YouTube. We talk about anti-science in the Ark Encounter. In the picture on the left, the lady heard me talking about how Earth is 4.6 billion years old, and she went and told the security guard on us. We're happy that we didn't get kicked out. I work with Secular Student Alliance to help children have a safe secular community at school. I have the opportunity to speak at conferences and about atheism. I was able to sit by 2 of my favorite freethinkers, Margaret Downey and Richard Saunders, at this event. And I had the privilege Oh. And I also got to meet Richard Dawkins, which was absolutely an amazing experience. And I got the experience to sign Right by Salman Rushdie. The fact that people use this to scare children into doing what they think is right is pretty much child abuse. Just like it says in the Ark Encounter, I'm working hard to convince others that the flood was not real. Then I convince that heaven and hell are not real. As we look up into the night sky at the hundreds of billions of stars spinning around on a rock through space, it is amazing to realize we are all connected, that we ourselves are made of stardust, and that alone makes us special. Thank you guys very much for having me. Now I will turn my time for Elle to talk.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome, Elle.
Thank you. Just had a water.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited to speak.
What are you drinking, Elle?
What?
What are you drinking?
Water.
Oh, water. Okay.
Hello, everyone. I am so excited to speak with you today. I will start off by telling you a bit about what I love. And then Bailey and I will do book readings. I love soccer just like Bailey. I play for the club team USA. I love to do science experiments. That is me doing the elephant toothpick experience up in the mountains. I love music. I love doing song parodies. This is my YouTube channel. I love to travel. I have grown up traveling around the country, watching Bailey at her speaking events. This is me in San Francisco when Bailey was speaking at the Freedom from Religion Foundation. This was me in Las Vegas when Bailey was speaking at SciCon. We loved Gordon Ramsay's restaurants there. This is me in front of the fish and chips restaurant. This is me at SciCon, getting people to sign up for Bailey's newsletter. While she was doing a book signing, I even got Richard Dawkins to sign up for the newsletter. You can see me standing on the stage as Bailey was getting ready to set up at SciCon. I was dreaming of being on stage myself someday. Bailey spoke at DragonCon last year, and my family had so much fun at the parade that Margaret puts on every year there. We are the skeptical Scooby-Doo family in the parade. I even got to speak on my first panel about growing up in a secular family at DragonCon. And I learned how to swing dance with Margaret at SciCon in Las Vegas. And Brian taught me some moves as well. I love to travel. When I was 7, my family and I went to Asia. We loved it. This was my favorite trip ever. The people loved my blonde hair. Many people would come up and touch my hair for good luck. On our flight home from China, I asked my dad if I could borrow his laptop to write a book about the things I love in the world. This is a very simple book called Wonderful Earth. The book came out last year. This is a picture of me signing the copies of the book. Now I will talk about my upcoming book, Elle the Humanist. This is my elementary school, Uinta Elementary. This is my I just finished 3rd grade at Uinta and I loved it. This year, many of my friends at school started talking to me about religion, and I love these conversations. One of my friends, Penny, asked me what church I go to. I told her that I don't go to any church. She didn't even know that it was possible to not be Mormon. She said that everyone she knows is Mormon. So I went home and talked to my parents about this. They taught me about different religions, and I had so much fun talking to my friends at school about this. My experience was very different from Bailey's experience at this age. So I asked my dad to help me write a book about this to share my experience with other children. We spent the next 9 months working on our new book called Elle the Humanist. We launched a Kickstarter and raised the money that we needed to do the illustrations and printing. And I got to be on news in Utah talking about humanism, which was so cool. So many people supported us, like Margaret. This is a book about common sense humanism, should be available to every questioning youngster. And so many others, like Nick Fish from the American Atheists. We are translating the book into German because some professional translators loved the book and offered to donate their time to do the translations. How you say it in German is Elle die Humanist, and not die as in kill, die as in the. We approved the proofs last week. This is a picture of me holding the proofs. I can't wait for the book to be released in September. Thank you so very much for letting me share my story with you. Now, I'll now turn my time back over to Michael, and then we will start our book readings.
Thank you very much, Bailey and Elle. That was fantastic. How about everybody give them a round of applause to thank them for that? That was fantastic.
Thank you.
All right. So now I believe your parents, Doug and Mackenzie, are going to read intros from each of your books and then have you each read portions of them. I believe, Doug, you are reading first from Bailey's book. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I'm going to spotlight you both while you're reading, and then I'll jump over to Bailey while she reads her portion. Then we'll come back to Mackenzie and then go back to Elle.
Yep.
Sounds great. Do Bailey and Elle need to stop sharing their screen
Oh,
first?
do you need? Okay, let me stop sharing. There we go.
All right. Well, hello, everyone. It's so nice for our family to be able to spend time with all of you today. And thank you to the Free Thought Society for hosting our family and letting our girls shine, and for Margaret and supporting them so much. We really appreciate it. As Bailey mentioned in her talk, she met Professor Dawkins at SciCon this last year. Margaret was able to introduce the two of them, and Bailey has obviously seen his work throughout her life and was so honored to meet him. What was really great to see was how kind he was to her. You know, he is quite a divisive figure in our world. We love what he does, but a lot of people don't. And he speaks his mind, and he was so sweet and kind to Bailey. He showed her a picture of his little grandson, and they talked about his grandson to her, and he talked to her about her 3 books. You know, this is the #1 evolutionary biologist in the world sitting there talking to a 13-year-old girl about her simple little children's books. Very, very sweet. Somebody even came up to the two of them while they were speaking and started talking to Richard Dawkins about how amazing he is, and thanking him for everything he's done. And he said, don't be impressed with me, be impressed with this little girl. She's written 3 books. And how humble is that for someone? So just wanted to relate that really great story from Richard Dawkins and Bailey. Without further ado, here is Professor Dawkins' foreword in Bailey's upcoming 2nd edition of her My Name Is Stardust book. And I wish I could read it in his beautiful accent, but I will not do that. Publishers of children's books do their noble best to second guess what children like to read, but the best possible judges would surely be children themselves. And when a book is itself written by a highly intelligent child, isn't that the best of all? Bailey Harris began work on this book when she was 8, around the age of her target audience. She honed her explaining skills and grew her knowledge of science through exposure to bullies in her school, Utah school, who tried to tell her she'd go to hell if she didn't believe in the Book of Mormon. That's why she originally wanted to call the first book, Book of Truth. Now 14, she's invited me to introduce the second edition, and I'm delighted to do so. Bailey was the youngest presenter at the 2019 SciCon, Committee for Skeptical Inquiry Conference in Las Vegas, and she was, as everyone agreed, a star. She is also Stardust, and so are we all. Hello, everyone. My name is Stardust, and this is my little brother, Vincent. Did ever a book have a more charming beginning? Actually, it's the beginning of another of Bailey's Stardust books, but the charm runs equally through all of them. This one has 375-million-year-old Tiktaalik, one of my favorite animals. Also, another one of my favorite animals, Lucy, who lived 3 million years ago. Some would say Lucy wasn't an animal, but a person. Others, including me, would say she was both, for we too are animals. We are African apes, closer cousins to chimpanzees than chimps, are to gorillas. Tiktaalik may not be our direct ancestor, but he was pretty much like our gazillion greats-grandfather, the fish who first crawled out on land. Our several hundred thousands great-grandmother might have met Lucy, so it's thrilling for us to meet her in Bailey's book and see her as one of Natalie Maitland's beautiful illustrations. We are Stardust, you and me, Lucy and Tiktaalik, dinosaurs, bacteria and redwood trees. Let Stardust Bailey tell you all about it. And now we'll turn the time over to Bailey to read My Name is Stardust.
Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. Bailey, the floor is yours.
Do I just share my screen again? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Hello, everyone. My name is Stardust. It's nice to meet you. Do you know what Earth is made of? Do you know what you are made of? Well, if not, then today is your lucky day. Throughout the history of the universe, countless billions of stars have formed and then exploded, leaving tiny specks of dust all over space. About 4.6 billion years ago, dust from those exploded stars came together to make our solar system. Our solar system is made of stardust. There are more than 100 billion galaxies in our universe, and there are hundreds of billions of stars in each galaxy. There are more stars in our universe than there are grains of sand on Earth. Our sun is one of those billions and billions of stars. Our sun is made of stardust. There are 8 planets in our solar system. The 4 inner planets are Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars. The outer planets are called gas giants. They are Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Those planets are made of stardust. Earth looks like a little blue ball when you look at it from far away in space. It is beautiful. Beautiful. Earth is made of stardust. Millions of years after Earth formed, life appeared, beginning with simple single-celled organisms. Those organisms eventually evolved into all of plants and animals that we see today. Those single-celled ancestors were made of stardust. Tiktaalik is one of my favorite ancient creatures. Tiktaalik lived about 375 million years ago. Tiktaalik was a fish with scales and gills, but also had wrist bones, ribs, lungs, and a neck. Tiktaalik could raise its body up out of the shallow water where it lived. Fossils like Tiktaalik show us how fish evolved into animals that walk on land like crocodiles. Tiktaalik was made of stardust. Dinosaurs lived on Earth millions of years ago. My favorite dinosaur is the Bronchiosaurus. Bronchiosaurus was so tall that it could eat the leaves from the top of very high trees. It looked a little strange because its front legs were longer than its back legs. But this is one of the reasons why it's my favorite. Bronchiosaurus was 85 feet long and weighed 40 tons. That's heavier than 5 elephants. Bronchiosaurus was made of lots of stardust. Around 65 million years ago, soon after dinosaurs became extinct, lived a small mammal called Purgatorus. Purgatorus was about the size of a rat or mouse. Humans did not exist yet. Most mammals at the time were very small, like Purgatorus. Those earlier mammals evolved into all the later kinds of mammals, everything from bats to whales to primates like monkeys and apes. Purgatorus was made of stardust. Unicorns lived on Earth a long time ago with pixies and fairies. Just kidding. There's no evidence of real unicorns, pixies, or fairies. If they were real, they would be made of stardust. Lucy was one of the first ape-like animals that walked upright, much like humans do now. She lived around about 3.2 million years ago in Africa, where her fossil bones were found in 1974. Lucy was made of stardust. I was born 9 years ago, and I'm growing bigger and bigger each year. I love to sing, dance, and paint. I'm made of stardust, and so are you. Now turning the time to,
Thank you, Bailey. Yes. And we will go back to Mackenzie, who I believe has an introduction to read for Elle the Humanist.
Yes. Hello, everyone. It's great to be with you today. Wait. Sorry.
Bailey, do you want to stop sharing your screen real quick?
I will do that. There we go. Thank you. Thanks for the reminder.
Hi, everyone. The foreword to Elle the Humanist, written by legendary philosopher Daniel Dennett. Daniel Dennett has written this foreword to children as an introduction to philosophy, and it's so sweet. I will now read the foreword. This is a book of good thinking about important things. Grown-ups call this kind of thinking philosophy, which comes from the ancient Greek word meaning love of wisdom. What this book shows you is that philosophy does not have to be complicated or difficult. Good philosophy just has to be clear, and it has to explain whatever it says, so you know the reason why it is wisdom. One of the important features of this book is that it tries to speak to everyone, no matter what they believe. So it tries to speak to you. Does it succeed? Did you give it a fair chance to succeed? All you have to do is read it carefully and see if you agree. If you don't agree, see if you can say why. Then check your answer and see if it's a good answer, an answer that everyone ought to agree with. If you succeed, you too are a philosopher. Welcome to the club. And now Elle will read Elle the Humanist.
Hello, my name is Elle. It's nice to meet you. I'm a humanist. A humanist is a person who tries to be good because they want to make the world a better place for everyone. Have you heard of a humanist? Most of my friends at school haven't, so they ask me questions to understand. Most of the time, my questions start with my friends ask me what church I go to, and I tell them I don't go to any church. There are many humanist groups that give us the chance to be a part of the same way a religious church is a community. Some humanists choose to be part of an organized group. My family's community comes from our friends and family, school, and the local soccer club that we love. Some of my friends ask me how I know what is right and wrong if I don't go to church and study books from their churches like the Bible or Quran. My family doesn't read church books together, but we love to read about science, nature, history, as we learn how to think about being good people. My parents taught me a simple rule to help me understand what is right and wrong. It's called the Platinum Rule. The Platinum Rule is simple. Treat others the way they would like to be treated. Rules like this have been taught for thousands of years. You can see on this fun chart how our Platinum Rule is very much like other golden rules. The humanist version of the Platinum Rule is fun and easy. Here's how I use it. Would my friend like me to steal her toys? No, so I don't steal her toys. Would my friend like me to lie to them? No, so I don't lie to them. Would my friend like... I can also do nice things with the partner rule. Here's how it works. Would my friend like me to share my treats with him? Yes, so I share my treats with him. Would my mom like me to clean up my room and help with the dishes after dinner? Yes, so I clean up my room and help with the dishes after dinner. I have to remember that some people don't want to be treated like I want to be treated, because we are all different. This is why the Platinum Rule teaches us to treat other people the way they would like to be treated, not the way we would like to be treated. Here's how it works. I love to be tickled on my feet, but my brother Bryson doesn't like to be tickled on his feet, so I don't tickle Bryson on his feet, but I love when my mom tickles my feet. My friend Brandley doesn't like sushi like I do. So when we have the choice of where to go out to eat, I don't pick sushi restaurants. I try to pick restaurants with pizza because that's Brandley's favorite. Some of my friends ask me questions like, how do you know if you're good enough to get to heaven after you die? I don't know anything about this, but I know that being a good person and helping others makes the people around me happier, and that makes me feel happy. It doesn't matter if you're Chinese, Pakistani, German, Mexican, or if you're from the United States like me, or if you believe in Krishna, Poseidon, Jesus, Muhammad, or you don't believe in any gods or prophets like me. We are all trying our best as to be happy as we live on this wonderful earth. And being a good person and loving others makes us all happier than anything else.
All right, that was your conclusion, yes? Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Elle, and thank you, Bailey. Why don't we give both of them another round of applause for a well-done job? That was wonderful. All right, so what we're going to do now, but first, thank you, Elle, Bailey, Doug, and Mackenzie for your presentation today. That was great. Even while sitting here trying to work things and keep tabs and everything, I was very impressed with that and very, very touched. I feel good about the future with authors and books like you. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take questions. So here's how this will work. If you have questions for either Bailey or Elle or either of their parents, you can submit a question to me, Michael Stephen Martin, in the Zoom chat, and I can put together some of your questions. If you would like to ask them directly, I can spotlight you and you can ask the question out loud, and I'll call upon you, spotlight you, and you can chat. If you would rather not be on screen, if you'd rather not read your question out loud, you can submit your question to me in the Zoom. Just preface it with please ask the person's name, and then I will ask on your behalf if you would like. If you don't write please ask, I'll assume that you would just like to ask them yourself and I can call upon you. So if you want to start submitting questions in the Zoom chat right now, we can do that. Margaret, do you have anything to add at this moment while we're gathering some questions?
Yes, yes. I never told the Harris family, but I used to own a house in Kauai, in Princeville. Do you remember seeing Princeville in Kauai?
Yeah.
Okay. Next to a golf course. Yeah. And so for 10 years, we used to go to Kauai for the winter season. And I love Kauai too. I think it's the most beautiful place on earth. And I know the Black Beach is your favorite, but what was your favorite food to eat there? I know what mine was.
I think their pork is always the best, like their tacos and stuff, but yeah.
What about you, Elle?
Shaved.
Oh, I know.
Shaved ice.
That's right.
She'll eat that all day long if you let her.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to remember the name of that purple root that they eat a lot of in Hawaii. It's purple and they fry it. It's so delicious. I can't remember what the name of it is. I hated poi. Ooh.
Yeah.
But it's that same vegetable that poi is made out of, but when it's cut and fried, it's like eating potato chips.
Yeah, we've had that. It was good.
And then on the roadside, you can get coconuts that are cold, and they just make a big hole in the top, and you take your straw and have coconuts.
Yeah, that's the best.
And that's the only place I could find that you could stop on a roadside and eat from a truck pasteles. Did you ever have pasteles?
I don't think we
so.
did.
It's very good. It's actually a Puerto Rican food. But
Oh,
if you can ever enjoy that, you should try that.
I'll have to try that next time. Yeah, that's one of our philosophies for our family is to have a house that's smaller and less expensive than we can afford, and have cars that are less expensive than we can afford, so that we can then use that money for experiences. So that's just something that we definitely prioritize.
And there's a big rock star that lives on Kauai. His name is Todd Rundgren. Have you ever heard of Todd Rundgren?
No.
Yeah, he has a Todd Fest every year for his birthday. And it's like a love-in. It's really wild and crazy.
That's funny.
And then the South Park guys have a house there.
Oh, that.
Yeah.
Maybe close to the
I think, oh, sorry, not to interrupt here. I think Marjorie I know Marjorie has a question here. I was going to unmute her and see if we could get her camera on so she could ask her question. Oh, there you are. There you are.
Sound on. Hello, everybody. And Margaret, I want to say I agree with you about poi. I was in Hawaii for the first and only time in January before the world came to a halt. And I thought I should order poi because I always like to taste the local cuisine. And I just couldn't get over how just like I didn't know flavor. It was gross. Everything about it was gross. So at least I tried it. Anyway, Elle and Bailey, thank you so much for this presentation and for your books. I have a very practical question, which is how the book made its journey from the idea stage to the publication stage. I know any number of people who have said, oh, I'd really like to write a children's book. But you know, how do you get that published? You know, you have good ideas and somehow they ended up coming to print. Do you have an agent? Do you have a publisher you work with? Is it self-published? And I'll stop talking now and wait for an answer. And I think maybe Doug and Mackenzie might help answer that question too.
Yeah, it's a long process, definitely, but we had a lot of help from many people just helping us with getting the book out, such as Margaret. Margaret has helped us a lot through the process of getting our books out there. We've had a lot of scientists help proofread and stuff like that to help with just the layout of the book, to help with the facts, because definitely teaching kids such a hard fact when they only know a few is definitely hard. But we used a few different techniques, but I think my dad knows most of them.
Well, the first book, when Bailey wrote My Name Is Stardust, we were planning on just self-publishing the book and making it just something that she could have for the rest of her life in her drawer, you know, so she could show her children. And you know, we didn't have any ambitions of making it something that it's become. You know, she was 9 years old when we finished writing it. Somebody in our neighborhood who is an expert in watercolor did the illustrations, which turned out beautiful. They were very expensive, so we did a Kickstarter, and it's something we've continued doing. But even though it was published, but while it was on Kickstarter, we had multiple publishers reach out to us. We were very fortunate, like Bailey said, so much support from people back then for her first book, My Name Is Stardust. Just seeing this little girl who was so passionate, you know, we put a little video of her talking about why she was passionate about being made of stardust and how this connects us to everything, and how she wants all the children in the world to understand how amazing this is. We put that video with the Kickstarter, and scientists and people from the secular community and people really started jumping in and supporting it. So it blew up on Kickstarter. And so we picked a publisher of children's books that we really liked. We just really liked the people that we were working with. They were going to let us continue using our Illustrator, which some of them wouldn't have, and control the content of the book, which was really the most important thing for us. So it was published. They published all 3 of her Stardust books, but it ended up that Bailey was selling 10 times more books herself on her website and at events that she was speaking at than the publisher. And so we called the president, and a 6-month process of negotiating the rights back from the publisher. And now it's published on Bailey's own self-publishing company, Label Free Publishing, which is a legitimate company now. And that's what Elle's book's coming out on as well. We kind of learned the inner workings of how the publishers work. And since the 2 of them are willing to do the work and get out there and speak at things like this and go to conferences, it's a much better process for us at this point. I think for some people, getting a publisher is probably necessary, but for us, these girls are so ambitious and having fun learning some business on the side. So
good, yeah, because I know in a lot of beginning writing courses, everybody wants to know, how do I get an agent? Like that's what they really want to know about. And apparently, you did not need to get an agent. They came to you, so that's great. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Does the Harris family recognize Marjorie? She was in our Reason University.
Yep.
She was our choir leader.
Yep, I remember.
She wrote our alma mater.
That was so much fun.
That was hilarious.
You got 2nd place, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I remembered the root from Kauai.
It's taro.
Yeah.
It's a taro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Crazy. It's called taro. Right.
It's
Much better fried than mushed up. Absolutely.
Everything is.
Everything is, right.
All right. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Margaret.
Go ahead.
Oh, I had a couple more questions lined up. Just as a reminder, if anybody has a question and hasn't submitted one yet, you can do that to me, send that to me in the chat. And in the meantime, I will ask Kendra if you'd like to turn on your camera and audio. Oh, I see you are on. Kendra, you are unmuted. You have a question, Kendra.
Yeah, well, it's, sorry, the kids are shy, so they won't come on the camera. But thank you so much. This has been really great. For some reason, I had not heard about your books, Bailey. And then I happened to see Elle the Humanist on Kickstarter. So I don't know how I missed that. I usually pick up these things, but I've got them now. They're on their way. So including your 3 books.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I'm really excited. So we do a lot of things with kids here in Saskatoon. So we'll be sharing them. I got a couple copies of Elle the Humanist as well. So we'll give those away at events and things like that here too. So
Thanks.
and my question is, so one of my kids especially is interested in being an author. He's written a lot of fictional books, for himself and our family, but can you tell us, it's kind of similar to the other question, but can you tell us a bit about the steps it takes to get from your idea, writing it down and through the publishing process, and how long that takes, like how much work it was for you? And maybe I'll ask parents later how much effort it is for parents.
Yeah, I think it does take a lot of effort. You do have to make sure that you find the right people to influence your books, and also find the right, it does take a lot of work and a lot of, it's just like hard to explain in a way how much work it takes, because you do have to have a lot of passion and ambition to get into. If you really want it, then you have to fight for it. Yeah, but I think my mom and dad know a little more too.
Yeah, I think if the children are excited about something, taking that concept, it does take molding. You know, we have a really good copy editor who's one of our best friends. And so we're fortunate to have that with Bailey's books because he, along with quite a few professional scientists, you know, someone from National Center for Science Education helped us with her first book. You know, how amazing was it? So I think we're very fortunate that people helped us, but getting a really good copy editor first is really important because they'll help you structure how the book is. And our copy editor actually had he writes himself. And so he was able to help us structure to where it probably took 3 different steps into one by utilizing that copy editor. With Elle's book, we had some experience, but once again, we reached out to experts. You know, one of the sentences in there was written by Margaret Downey, you know, and we sent it to Margaret, we sent it to the American Humanist Association and American Atheists, and almost everybody came back with ideas like, on this page, maybe you should talk about this. And so people are really willing to help, you know, and so if you have a concept and you have experts that are out there, I would suggest reaching out to those experts. You know, you lay out your first version and say, this is kind of what we're thinking. This is what we're passionate about. Here's the backstory. My son or daughter is so excited about this concept and you're an expert. How would you explain this to children? That's kind of how we approached it. I think it's probably unconventional how we've done it, but I think that's probably the best approach is find someone that's really good at writing to tie in with, along with some experts in whatever area that is. And some of them, you know, don't have expertise. It's just, I love my dog and my cat, and which is awesome as well, which you can then reach out to parents and get ideas probably.
It was a very scientific approach, I must say.
Thank you.
All right, Catherine, let me highlight you. Catherine, you have a question. So let's have it. Thank you.
Hi, this question is for Bailey and Elle. I was wondering if you guys ever attended a church service just to see how it made you feel, to understand why your friends were like so into it.
I definitely have, yeah. It's kind of a strange experience because the last time that I went was a long time ago, but they do a lot of different things. It depends on the church as well. Like, since I live in Utah, there's a lot of Mormons here, so compared to just like other religions, that's just mostly the religion there. And I went to one of those, and it's just like a lot of activities and stuff, and I don't know, but that's my experience.
Well, the last time I went was with my cousin. So she brought me to one of her classes, and everyone had the Bible to read, and I was in there just standing, and it was kind of weird. Also, we had to listen to some people for like an hour, so it was really, really boring. But if you like people when they like that stuff, they kind of get used to it. So.
Elle, I think you mentioned that, so I think we were watching someone, it was a baby blessing or something, and you mentioned that you liked the music. I think that's something. And maybe that's kind of what you're talking about, Catherine, like sometimes that music can be.
Well, yeah, like I've went to 3 different churches, all completely different experiences. One was complete Spanish, so I didn't know what anyone was saying. One was one of those crazy ones that want you to raise your hand now if you want to follow Jesus. And the third one was more of a laid back one with just really awesome music. So yeah, that one was more normal. That's the one my parents go to. But basically it was pretty much awkward for me, especially the other 2 churches. Like it just wasn't for me. I always felt out of place.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's like firesides, and I don't know if you know what that means, but like it's like where they're in a big circle, and then there's like a fire, and then you're just singing songs. I don't know. It's really weird.
Sounds like a bonfire, but no, I haven't seen that.
It's kind of strange.
That's a Mormon thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's what the girls are exposed to mostly in this neighborhood.
Yeah. Got it. Well, then I wouldn't be familiar with that because I don't know a lot about Mormons. I mean, not as much as I think I do, but I haven't like seen that, no.
Yeah.
And I didn't grow up in Utah.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
I grew up in Las Vegas.
Oh,
Okay,
cool.
that's awesome.
Nice. We have family in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty much, I guess you could say, the most non-churchy place you could live, I think. I mean,
Maybe outside of Scandinavia.
I have a good lifelong friend who was she was quite a wild partier and moved to Vegas and found Jesus of all places. So
Okay.
you never know which direction people are going to go with that. It's a magical town. But I guess everybody's got different circumstances that lead to that, I guess. I have a question here in the chat that somebody said to ask on their behalf, and so I will ask the girls. Do you still experience any ostracism from being non-religious? In other words, do you still get a hard time from friends or people that maybe aren't friends, just people that know you aren't believers? Do they ever tease you or give you a hard time for being non-religious? And if so, how do you handle that?
My friends, when I told them, they said, a lot of my best friends said, cool. I'm not going to treat you a different way because I don't really care what you believe in, but I believe that you're my best friend. And that's really, I never had a bad experience with that.
Yeah, it's a little different for me because I'm in middle school and she's in elementary, and she's kind of grown up in Salt Lake compared to where I used to live in South Jordan, where that's more of like an area where they more pick at you compared to like where Elle's situation, where she just kind of like, they're kind of like, oh, whatever, it's fine. There's a lot more religions up in Salt Lake compared to down in the other areas like South Jordan and stuff. But I do get some sort of bad things from some people, but it's normally the only hardcore ones. There's a lot of different religions at my school. Of people wear different different cultures and stuff. So I feel like it's a lot easier in my school compared to back when it was back then. There's this one kid one time, a few months before quarantine, he came up to me and he was a flat earther, and he knew that I had a book that was kind of not against it, but like kind of proving it wrong without proving it wrong, if you get what I mean. And he got really pissed off at me because I would always bring a better point back at him. Like I'd be like, I get what you mean by that, but, and he would just go off. I do get some hate, but not as much as I used to. So yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're both strong enough to deal with it, especially at your young but mature ages. It sounds like you've got good heads on your shoulders, so I'm sure you'll do well with any sort of pushback you might get. So well done. I have a question for both of you. I'm wondering if you've decided on being authors full-time for your whole lives, or do you have other careers in mind, or do you want to do multiple things?
I definitely have a few jobs on mind, ideas, but I don't know if I'm going to pursue them or not, because it's kind of hard at this age to decide, because I'm going through a lot of different things. So I don't know. It's kind of hard. I definitely do want to keep pursuing my books throughout my whole life, but I definitely want to pursue other jobs as well. But yeah.
I probably would say that I really like writing books. Like Bailey said, she wants to do another job too. Yeah, I would probably do books, not too often, but write some, like I have, because a year apart. But and then I want to have another job too, because I have some in mind. But I'm a little too young to decide jobs.
Enjoy your youth. I know Margaret has a question, so I'll spotlight her for that.
Yes, I was curious about your experience having a Secular Student Alliance club at school. Many times we've heard terrible discrimination incidences. Did you experience that at all, Bailey?
Well, there is a few things that have happened, but like not like I don't think as severe as other things, I think. But this guy at I haven't actually had a lot of bad experiences with secular student lights. People have been mostly kind, but there has been a few incidents where people are like, I don't even get this club is stupid, or like they will discriminate. And like I remember one kid grabbing a pin, then he was like just threw it away. I think he was just trying to prove a point, but it didn't prove anything. He just grabbed the pin and threw it away. I was like, okay. But there hasn't been a lot of bad incidents yet, luckily, but
Was it hard to find a teacher to co-sponsor your club?
It was kind of hard.
And Black Lives Matter teacher, right, Bailey?
Yeah, it was the Black Lives Matter teacher, but it's kind of hard in a way to find a teacher because you want to make sure that they're comfortable with the fact of it, and you don't know if they're into religion or not. But yes, we did find a teacher.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for doing that. It's very special that you've promoted that concept and that you're proud and that you're active, and that I'm just so proud of both of you. I'm just thrilled that you're in my life, and someday I hope to go to Kauai with you.
Yes, that would be so fun. Or like California, that would be so fun. Yes.
And you're always welcome back east. We have a beautiful big house here for your whole family to stay, and we can
thank
show you where Independence Hall is, and all the history back here is just really fabulous.
Yes, I bet that would be so fun. We should definitely go on a trip.
Would like that.
Yes, me too.
Hey,
Any questions, Michael?
there's some great comments in the chat. If the Harris family would like to read through the chat in their own time, there's some glowing praise in there. I don't think I see any questions. If I'm missing anybody's questions, please let me know right now so we can get you in. I'm scrolling through looking for questions. There's plenty of comments, but anything specifically in question form, now's the time to raise your hand, so to speak.
I had one other question.
Certainly, let me highlight you.
I was wondering if you guys had like a Facebook page that publicizes your book or advertises it, because most people like have like an author page or something to like advertise their book, or an Instagram or something.
Yes, we have Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, like all those. Yeah, I think my dad knows the ads for them.
Well, Bailey's page has links to all of hers. It's baileystardust.com. Her website is stardustscience.com. But if you go to baileyharris.com, that has links to everything.
On Facebook too?
Yeah, she has links to Facebook. She has a YouTube channel with her tour of the Ark Encounter and all of that. But you can get links to all of that from her website. Elle has a brand new website, and Facebook and Twitter and all of that as well. It's ellethehumanist.com.
Okay, I'll look it up.
So did everybody clean their room today? Did everybody make their bed?
I'm pretty sure I did.
I was going to say, I just got a question to ask Elle if she's cleaning her room today.
That's a great question. I got one for Bailey too.
Does Bailey keep her room clean and Elle's the messy one? Is that why the question?
No, I'm the messy one when it comes to that. Don't ask my mom about it. She'll tell you all about it.
I usually have piles of clothes when I wake up, and then I just run downstairs and put them in the washer.
Oh, that sounds helpful.
Doug and Mackenzie, I got a message from you. You're asking if I'm going to read? I'm not sure if that was for me.
Oh, if Bailey's going to read her books today.
Oh, okay. Bailey, are you going to read your books today?
Am I?
I like this, where we can ask questions through a moderator.
Yeah, don't shoot the messenger. Go clean your room.
Well, both of you are just wonderful. I'm just thrilled to have hosted you, and I want to have a big thank you to Michael, who put a lot of time and effort into being a co-host. I would not
Thank
be
you.
able to do Zooms without him. And so applause, push the
Thank you.
applause button for you, Michael.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I know people say that all the time, but I'm very proud to be a part of these sorts of things. And I was very encouraged by your presentation today, ladies. That was fantastic to watch.
Thank
And
you.
I look forward to meeting you both in person at some point. If you're friends of Margaret, you're friends of mine. That goes for the whole Harris family. So I appreciate having the opportunity to share this afternoon with you and help you sell some books and get your names out there.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate us. I really appreciate you guys having us on, and thank you, Margaret. I appreciate you. Thank you.
So let's get one quick picture. I'm going to switch to all of us on the screen.
Okay.
Everybody who wants to be in the picture, we're going to do it now. And smile. And 1, 2, 3. All right. Thank you.
All right.
So who wants to stay for the post-event chat?
I'm going to hang out for a while. I'm going to hang out.
Okay, I'll hang out with you. Marjorie?
Ooh, let me unmute her. There we go. Oh, she just unmuted herself while I mute. There we go.
Okay. Debbie?
Marjorie, you go ahead and unmute yourself because I think.
I'd be happy to hang around for a little while, but then I'll need to get on to other things.
Oh, and I want to remind everyone to check the Free Thought Society meetup page. Our next speaker is going to be Mandisa Thomas from the Black Non-Believers. And the date on that is July, was it 8th or? I forgot.
Double check.
Okay. And then after that, we have Professor Christopher Cameron, who'll be talking about free thought from slavery to now, which will be very interesting. He's on August 1st. I know that date.
Yes.
And then we will be, go ahead. Do you have that date, Michael?
Yeah, Mandisa Thomas of Black Non-Believers is on July 11th. July
11th. Okay, very good.
At 3 o'clock your time or 2:45 for the pre-event.
Right. We tend to have a good turnout on a Saturday, except today it was such a beautiful day out. I think everybody's out doing their gardening. I know that's the case here. I had to shut all my windows because all my neighbors are mowing their yards. What's the weather there in Utah?
It's actually really warm.
Is it?
Yeah, I think we were 80 degrees today.
Michael, how's it there in Orange?
Good question. I haven't stepped outside yet, but let me do a quick check and see, because I think by today was supposed to be in the low 80s, so we're probably matching Utah right now. Let's see.
You guys are amateurs. It's 103 here.
How's that in Canada? Is our Canadian woman still here? Is our Canadian woman still here?
No, she had to go. She said she had to leave.
Okay.
Oh, who was from Canada? I must have missed that.
Kendra. It was Kendra, I think, from Saskatoon.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I'm the furthest south then in Tucson. It's 103.
Are there fires in Tucson right now, right?
Was that?
Are there fires in Tucson right now?
Yeah, in the northwest part. At least we're on the east side though.
Okay, that's good.
Is John DeMillion still with us?
Oh, I think he just left. Hey, Debbie, are we okay to have your camera on so you can join us, or?
I don't have a camera here, so.
Oh, okay.
Well, before the Harrises leave, I want to introduce them again to Marjorie. They know her from the Reason University, but did you also know that she portrays Susan B. Anthony?
I do.
Did not know that.
Awesome. Speaking of equality.
Yeah. And this is the 100th year anniversary of the passage of the women's rights efforts in the 19th Amendment was passed. And so, oh, by the way, the post office is distributing in August a women's suffrage stamp. And it's
Oh,
absolutely
it's awesome.
beautiful. It's really, really nice. When I work with Marjorie registering voters on college campuses, she portrays Susan B. Anthony and I portray Alice Paul, who was very instrumental towards the end of the women's suffrage movement. So together we represent the starting of the women's suffrage movement and the end of the women's suffrage movement. Someday, Bailey, I would love to be at your school registering voters and teaching about women's suffrage.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That would be
Someday, I'd like to be anywhere.
Seriously.
That's really good. We also have a, if you send me your school information, both Elle and Bailey, I can send your school an application for us to come and do a Thomas Paine assembly. It's all about the life of Thomas Paine. And I usually like to do that for 6th graders. They're in that colonial time period of study. So I'd like to send that to your school, Elle. If you send me the information, I'll get that application out. And Marjorie, come to think of it, why don't we design an application for us to go to schools and do women's suffrage education?
I'd love it.
Great year for that.
Well, the only difference between that, Marjorie, is that I do have a grant that I use for the Thomas Paine event. I have a person who gives me $300 or $400 to make it possible to go to a school. We'll have to find some wealthy supporter.
Yes, we will.
I heard the word travel a couple times come up in Elle's presentation. Elle, it sounds like you really like to travel, or maybe the both of you do. Are there places that you have not been that you want to go?
I want to go to Paris, France, really bad.
Good choice.
Good place to start. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. I want to say to Doug and Mackenzie that my priorities have always been exactly like yours. You know, I don't need lots of fancy stuff. After getting the kids through college, then every like penny of disposable income I want to use for travel, which of course I can't do right now, but that's absolutely been it. And it's very enriching for your children. And I'm glad that they're having the experience to travel. Mark, I'm going to have to paraphrase Mark Twain, who said, you know, the best cure for bigotry is travel. So that, you know, that's a great thing.
Yeah, very good.
What's your favorite place to travel to, Marjorie? You've been?
Oh, I love Italy. I love Paris. I love every part of Europe I've ever been to. And then this year, as I said, for the first time, I went to Hawaii and spent some time in Maui and some time on the Big Island. And it was just magical in a completely different way. You know, but I love to see the old cities of Europe and how they continue and what they have contributed. But Hawaii just blew my mind.
Yeah, it's pretty special.
It is really magical. Yeah.
We do. We let the kids choose anywhere in the U.S. when they turn 12 as kind of a life event, and that's right after they're done studying U.S. history. And so our hope is that they choose somewhere historical. Our oldest son chose Boston. Bailey was in New York quite a few times, so we called it her trip. Elle's thinking about going to Boston. Maybe she should go to Pennsylvania.
Philadelphia. Absolutely.
But then when